Hello and welcome guys. Today we will be looking at map, reduce and filter function. So all these three basically used to provide functionality to existing program in Python. Now we will see one by one how to use them and where to use them. So basically first let's understand what is map. So basically map function iterate through all the item in a if you're passing list or if you're passing tuple, anything you're passing, it will iterate through all the item and it will execute function we have passed along with it. So basically map take two parameters. First is function, another one is iterable item. Okay, now it will apply that particular function to each of the item we have passed. So let's see it how it works. So basically what I'm doing here, let's first initialize a list. Here I have initialized a list, and what I'm doing is I'm squaring all the item in that particular list. So if I run this, you will see that okay, what it is saying, unsupported operand type. Why it says unsupported operand type? Because we are just multiplying that particular list. We are not iterating through each item in that particular list. To avoid such situation, what we will do, we will use map function. Now you see, right, where the need is. Now let's say again I have defined that particular list. Now I will run it. Okay, so what I have done here is I have called the lambda function. Why lambda function? Because we don't want to give any name to it. Okay, now for every item in X I want to multiply it. Okay, now you will see map takes two parameters. First is function. What is function? This one. Like I said, how you define anonymous function? Using lambda. So first parameter is function, next parameter is iterable item, which you can iterate. So iterable item is our defined list, that is first list. So what do you think what it will do? It will square off each item in that particular list. So if I run this, you will see it has returned me an object. What is that? A map object. So now you will see how to basically access them. So to access them, what you have to do is you need to convert back it to some data type. Okay, so whenever you use map, you need to convert it to some data type so that it return you that particular output it has collected. Okay, now we'll see how. Okay, now you will see the same example, but here I have typecasted into list. So what I am doing here is same thing. I have one function and I have iterable item, and I am using map function to do the square. Okay, now you can you could have done this using loop also, list comprehension also, but they are not functional based basically. So this is functional. You are basically providing more functional to your program. Okay, because in production you have to write your code like this only, and these are, you can see it's very easy. I mean, you can do you could have used for loop to do the same thing in 4 line what you can do in same thing in 1 line. Now so basically what you are doing here typecasting. Why typecasting? Because map return object. Okay, that's why. And you can't also use this particular function. Okay, because again it will return you object. So lambda also return you object. That time we also have seen that. So you can see the example here. So lambda also return us object, not the output. So that's why what we have to do, we have to typecast into some data type. So this is what we are doing, typecasting, and you can see it has returned me the square of every element that we have in first list. Right, now I think it is clear. Now like we have used here lambda function, which is used when we don't want to define anything. Like that can be done like without defining it. So some of the function you can use without defining it, but some of the function you need to define it because you want to use it repetitive time. So suppose you want to you have a function that is a squaring function. Okay, now you want to use it inside map. So again, how you will do it, you will use that function. You will, I mean, it takes 2 parameters, first the function and second the iterable item, and you are typecasting it to list. Same thing, as you can see, it will square it. Again, hope you understand this with this clearly. Now let's say you have one tuple and one list. Okay, in the list we have 3597, in the tuple we have 4567. Okay, now what you're doing here is you have 2 item. Okay, so basically you are defining anonymous function xy and you are taking sum. Okay, now again, like I told you, it takes one function and the iterable item. So you can pass n number of iterable item to the map function. Now you will ask me, you said it take only 2 parameter, but it takes n number of iterable item. So first will be function and second will be n number of iterable item. So how do I will going to know about this. So next time you are using any function, there is a trick called to check that source code of that particular function. So how you will check it? Just select the whole function and shift tab. If you tab the shift if you click the shift tab, it will show you how the documentation done for that particular function. So you can see here it take function, and you can see here they have used star. Like I told you in previous tutorial also, star means it can take n number of iterable items. You can pass n number of iterable items. That's why you can see here we have 3 parameters. Okay, first is function, another one is two, one is a list, another one is tuple. Now what it is doing, it is taking every element one by one and then making sum of it. Now you can see first item 3, and I mean the first item of particular list is 3 and the first item of particular tuple is 4. So if we sum it, it will come 7, 5, 5, 10, 9, 6, 15, 7, 7, 14. So this is how you will be working with, this map function. Okay, you can pass n number of iterable items. So let's say I am defining again another list item. Suppose this one. Oh, sorry, 3. Now just change the items a little bit. Okay, now what you will do, you just have to add that particular list towards the end. Now what do you think what it will do? It will obviously do the sum, but again you have to add 3 lambda parameters, because you are iterating through 3 items. If you don't do it, it will again ask you to add it, because it take 2 positional argument but 3 is given. Why? Because we haven't initialized that particular parameter here. So if we do that, the error will be gone, right? As you can see, the error has been gone. This is how you will be dealing with multiple iterable items in the map function. Now comes the next one. Now here what we are doing is basically, so here we want, so let's say we want to basically merge the first item with first item of first list and second list, second item with second item of first list and second list, third item with the third item for first list and second list, and we also want to capitalize the very first letter of all the names. Okay, so how we will be doing it? So let's come to last line first. So here what we are defining that function and the list of iterable items. Okay, so list of iterable item we have 2, so we have defined here 2, and then the function proper, and we are calling map function because we want to map it, right? So what we are doing here is again lambda function. So we have 2 iterable items, so that's why x and y. Now what we are doing here is we are taking x, which is this item, and we are making it upper. So very first item making it upper, so n will become capital letter. Now again what we are doing, I am taking x of rest of the item, which is this item, and making it nothing, so it will stay as it is, like lower letter. And then what I am doing, appending it with what, white space, and I am taking very first item of y list. So this is the y list, and the very first item is T from Tesla, which I am making upper again, and then taking the rest of the item. Okay, so what I am doing here is I am making the n capital and T capital and taking the rest of the item or letters as it is, and then typecasting it into list. Okay, so if I run this, you will see all of the names along with their very first letter to be capital. Okay, so if I run this, you can see Nicole Tesla with N capital and T capital, James Watt with J capital and W capital. Okay, so I am iterating through all the item one by one, and then making it capital letter and combining it with second list. Okay, so this is how I am doing map function. Now let's come to filter function. So what is filter? So basically filter is like similar to map, but it takes functional objects. What I mean by functional object, you can see that this is functional object that lambda has written us. And why we use it? Because sometime we use it to we have multiplied it with 2, or you can say square it with 2. Now we want to filter the result with some condition. Okay, so we have the object, but we won't want to return all of the item. We want to return only let's say even item, or you say odd item. So that time you will be using filter. So what how I will be doing? So if I run this again, like I show you in the above example, it will return you functional object. Okay, so if you print this, you will see it's a functional object. Like I said, you will be using that particular functional object to create or return output after filtering it. Now I have one functional object that is divisible by 3 here. Filter also take if you want to check what all parameter it takes, again it takes the same as what map takes. Okay, function and iterable item. Now you can see here there is no stars. Okay, hope you understand why there is no star. Now let's say you have that particular functional object. Now you want to filter it, and how you want to filter it? Now here in the function I have defined that give me give me item that is divisible by 3. Okay, give me item that is divisible by 3. That is the condition I have made, or you can say function. Now I want to filter on what? I want to filter on my list. What is my list? This is my list. Okay, now it will return you only those item which is divisible by 3. Okay, so this is how we will be using filter. Okay, obviously we will use filter with one functional item and a given list. Now it will return you those item which is divisible by 3. As you can see how we have used filter. Okay, so basically you have used a functional object to filter the future output, so that it will basically filter out which is not necessary basically. Okay, so this is how you will be using it. Now comes the last part, which is reduce. Now what is reduce? So basically reduce is little bit different from map and filter. So how it is different? Because it will not going to return a list which we have passed. It will return you a single value. Okay, it will not going to return any multiple item or iterable item like this. It will return you single value. How? Let's first take an example and see. Now to basically reduce is not like predefined, so you have to use it using function tool. So this is how we call library in Python. So from function tool, because the reduce is inside function tool, so you will use this way to call the reduce from function tool, import reduce. Now what we are doing here is we are defining a variable q and we are reducing lambda x and y. And what here x and y is doing? It is summing up what is the range between whatever the value that comes between 1 and 4. 1 and 4 we have 1 2 3, right? If we run the range of 1 to 4, obviously last item will be n minus 1, so it will run till 3. Okay, if you are not starting from 0. So what the sum will be? Sum will be 6, and like I said, it will return you only single value. That's why. So again here we are using reduce function because we want a single output. So what we are doing here is we are comparing every single item here, and we want the maximum the max element that we have in this list, and return me that item. Okay, so what I am doing here is we have given a function here first of all, and then iterable item. Okay, now what I am doing here is I am iterating two items. So basically one is x and one is y. So two items, first is 22, second is 45. So I am checking whether x, give me x if x is greater than y, else y, else give me y if it is lower. So what I am doing here is I am checking whether 22 is greater than 45. If 22 is greater than 45, give me 22, otherwise give me 45. Okay, so in first iteration I have got 45 because 45 is bigger, and then again it will check 45 and 32. Obviously 45 is bigger. Again it will check 32 20 again it will check 45 20. Obviously 45 is bigger. Again it will check 45 with 87. Obviously it will change because 87 is bigger. And then 94, and then obviously 94 is the maximum value in our list, so it will return 94. As you can see how we have used reduce. So this is how map, reduce and filter works in Python. Hope you guys have understood it. Yeah, thanks, bye bye.